Have you ever wondered if that simple half-dollar lying in your drawer could actually be worth hundreds of dollars? Well, today we're unlocking the secrets of four fascinating Kennedy half-dollars: the 1974, 1979, 1981P, and 1986S. Each one carries its own mystery hidden, value, and a story from American history. So watch carefully, because by the end, you'll know exactly which ones to keep and which ones could make you rich, so get it started.
The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963. The American people wanted a way to honor their beloved president, and the U.S. Mint quickly replaced the Franklin half-dollar with the Kennedy design. By 1974, the coin had already been in circulation for a decade. However, one important fact stands out: unlike the first year of issue in 1964, which was struck in 90% silver, the 1974 half-dollar was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change had started in 1971, as silver became too expensive to use in regular circulating coins. So, the 1974 half-dollar contains no silver, but that doesn't mean it has no value. Some special varieties and conditions make it highly collectible. Let's take a closer look at the design. Features the iconic bust of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. You'll see the word Liberty around the rim, with Kennedy's portrait cutting into the letters slightly. The phrase "In God We Trust" is inscribed below the neck. The date, 1974, is struck at the bottom. Designed by Frank Gasparo. Shows the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, holding an olive branch in one claw and arrows in the other, symbolizing peace and defense. Above the eagle is a ring of stars and the motto "E pluribus unum." The outer edge reads "United States of America" and half-dollar. This design hasn't changed much even today, but the 1974 issue represents the era when the coin was still commonly found in circulation. Mints and mint marks. In 1974, the half-dollar was struck at three main mints. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. Over 201 million coins were made. These are the most common. Denver Mint, D mint mark. Around 79 million were struck. Look for the small "d" on the obverse, just below Kennedy's neck. San Francisco Mint, S mint mark. These coins were made as proofs only. Over 2.6 million proof coins were minted, specially struck with mirror-like surfaces for collectors. Errors and varieties. Collectors love the 1974 half-dollar because of some fascinating error coins. Let's explore a few. 1974 ED double die obverse DDO. This is the most famous variety on some Denver minted coins. Doubling can be seen especially on the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." A strong doubled die example can be worth hundreds of dollars or more, depending on condition. Off-center strikes. Some coins were struck off-center, making them valuable error pieces. Clipped planchets. Coins with missing sections due to planchet errors are also collectible. These errors are what make ordinary-looking 1974 halves exciting for treasure hunters. Value of the 1974 half-dollar. Now let's talk money. Circulate condition. Most 1974 halves are only worth their face value of 50 cents. Uncirculated condition MS 60 to MS 65. Value jumps to around $3 to $10. High-grade examples MS 67 and above. These can sell for hundreds of dollars at auctions because they are very rare in pristine condition. Proof coins 1974 s generally worth between $5 and $15, but special cameo or deep cameo examples can bring in more. Error coins. The 1974 ED doubled die obverse is the jackpot, with some pieces selling for $500 or more. Collecting tips. If you want to collect the 1974 half-dollar, here are a few tips. Always check for the mint mark under Kennedy's neck. Inspect carefully for doubling on the Denver issues. Proof coins from San Francisco are best kept in their original mint packaging. Use a magnifying glass and proper lighting to check details. For serious value, consider sending high-grade coins to be certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Why it's special? Even though it's not silver, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is special because it connects us to a major moment in the U.S. history. It's part of the long-running Kennedy series still being struck today. It has exciting varieties that make the hunt rewarding for collectors. Many people overlook it, but those who pay attention may find a little treasure hiding in their pocket change or old coin jar. Next half $1,979. Before diving into the 1979 issue, let's quickly look back at the history of the half-dollar itself. The half-dollar denomination has been part of U.S. coinage since the 1790s, with designs such as the flowing hair, draped bust, capped bust, seated Liberty, Barber, Walking Liberty, and Franklin halves. But in 1964, after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the U.S. Mint decided to honor him with a brand new design, the Kennedy half-dollar. The coin was first struck in 1964 in 90% silver, which made it is very popular among both collectors and the general public. However, due to the rising cost of silver, the U.S. Mint reduced the silver content in 1965 to 40%, and by 1971, the dollar was made entirely of copper-nickel clad, just like the quarters and dimes of that era. That's the metal composition we also see in the 1979 half-dollar. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. You can see Kennedy facing left, with the word Liberty around the top, the motto "In God We Trust" below his chin, and the date 1979 at the bottom. The reverse was designed by Frank Gasparo. It shows the presidential seal, an eagle holding arrows and an olive branch, with a shield on its chest and a ring of stars surrounding it. The words United States of America and half-dollar appear around the rim. This patriotic design was loved by Americans and became a symbol of respect for President Kennedy. The 1979 Kennedy half-dollar was struck in 3 U.S. mint locations. Philadelphia no mint mark these coins. Have no letter under Kennedy's neck. Denver D mint mark, you'll see a small D on the obverse below Kennedy's neck. San Francisco S mint mark, these are the proof coins made for collectors. Now, let's talk about the varieties. Business strike coins. Philadelphia and Denver produced millions of these for circulation. Proof coins struck at San Francisco mint with mirror-like surfaces. Type varieties. Some 1979 S proof coins have 2 types. Type 1 filled S mint mark. Type 2 clear S mint mark. Collectors pay special attention to these, as the Type 2 is scarcer. Here are the official mintages. 1979 P Philadelphia around 68.3 million coins. 1979 D Denver about 15.8 million coins. 1979 S proof around 3.6 million coins. So as you can see, the Philadelphia mint struck the most, while the Denver mintage was lower, and the San Francisco proofs are the rarest. The 1979 half-dollar is made of copper-nickel clad, that means a core of pure copper with outer layers of nickel. Weight 11.34 grams. Diameter 30.6 millimeters. Thickness 2.15 millimeters. Edge reeded with small vertical lines. This is the standard for all modern half-dollars after 1971. Now comes the exciting part, the value. Most 1979 Kennedy half-dollars you find in circulation are worth only their face value, 50 cents. But for collectors, certain coins can be worth much more. 1979 P and 1979 D in circulated condition, about 50 cents to $1. Uncirculated mint state $5 to $15, depending on grade. Proof 1979 S Type 1, around $5 to $10. Proof 1979 S Type 2, clear S $25 to $50. Or even more in high grades. High grade MS 67 Plus or PR 70, these can fetch hundreds of dollars at auction. So always check the condition and look for special varieties. Some error coins from 1979 are highly collectible. Here are a few examples. Off-center strikes where the design is not centered. Double die errors where letters or numbers look doubled. Clipped planchets coins with a missing edge. Struck on wrong planchet, extremely rare cases where the half-dollar was struck on a quarter or dollar blank. These error coins can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $1,000, depending on rarity. Although millions of 1979 half-dollars were minted by the late 1970s, the coin was rarely used in everyday transactions. People preferred quarters and dollar bills. Half-dollars were often hoarded, collected, or left unused in bank rolls. Because of this, the half-dollar slowly disappeared from circulation, even though it was still officially produced quarter $1,981 p. The half-dollar has been part of the U.S. coinage since the very beginning of the mint in the 1790s. But the design we see today, featuring President John F. Kennedy, was first introduced in 1964. Just a few months after his tragic assassination in November 1963. The coin was rushed into production to honor the late president and it immediately became a symbol of American pride and remembrance. The public loved it so much that millions were saved as keepsakes rather than spent. By the 1980s, the Kennedy half-dollar was still in circulation, but it was not widely used in daily transactions anymore. Most people preferred quarters and dollar bills, which meant half-dollars often sat in drawers, coin jars, or mint sets. That's what makes the 1981 P. Kennedy half-dollar so interesting. It represents a time when the half-dollar was becoming more of a collector's coin than a coin of daily use. The 1981 P half-dollar was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the small P mint mark on the obverse side, just above the date. Here are the technical details. Designer Gilroy Roberts. Obverse Frank Gasparro. Reverse obverse portrait of John F. Kennedy. Reverse presidential seal with the eagle, olive branch, and arrows. Composition: 91.67% copper, 8.33%. Nickel. A copper nickel-clad coin. Weight 11.34 grams. Diameter 30.6 millimeters. Edge reeded. These specs remain standard for all circulation Kennedy half-dollars after 1971, when silver was completely removed from regular issues. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint produced around 29.5 million Kennedy half-dollars. While this may sound like a large number, it was actually much lower than the massive mintages of earlier years, especially the 1960s, because fewer people used half-dollars in daily transactions. By 1981, many of these coins survived in relatively good condition. However, finding high-grade examples with sharp strikes can still be a challenge. The Philadelphia Mint in the early 1980s was notorious for average strike quality. Many 1981 P half-dollars show weakness in Kennedy's hair details or flatness in the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Collectors specifically look for strong, sharp strikes. Another issue was contact marks. Since these coins were released for circulation, they often show bag marks, scratches, or dull luster. That's why gem-quality coins graded MS-65 and above are much harder to find and worth a premium. Now, the 1981 P coin we're focusing on is the circulation strike. But in 1981, the U.S. Mint also struck proof half-dollars at the San Francisco Mint with the S mint mark. These proofs were only sold in collector sets, never released into circulation. This makes the Philadelphia coin more of a regular issue, but interestingly, since the mint stopped selling circulating coins to the public in bulk rolls after 2001, half-dollars like the 1981 P have become increasingly attractive to collectors who want a complete date and mint mark set. Collectors love errors, and the 1981 P Kennedy half-dollar does have a few worth noting. Off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, with a blank crescent. Clipped planchets coins missing a small curved section. Die cracks or cuds, raised lines or blobs from damaged dies. Double dies rare, but sometimes you may find doubling in the lettering, especially in In God We Trust or the date. while not as famous as some earlier varieties, these errors can turn a common coin worth 50 cents into something worth $50, $100, or even more depending on rarity. So how much is the 1981 p half dollar worth today? L. Circulated condition around 50 cents to $1. Uncirculated MS60, MS63 usually $2 to $5. Gem condition MS65 around $25 to $50. High grade MS67 rare and can fetch $500 plus at auction. Error coins, as we mentioned, can bring in even higher values depending on uniqueness. Grading is crucial. Coins with bright luster, no major scratches, and strong strike details are the ones collectors pay the most for. Even though the 1981 p half dollar is not made of silver, it still holds great appeal for collectors who enjoy building a complete Kennedy set. Some collectors aim to collect one coin from every year and every mint, while others focus only on high-grade registry sets. The coin also tells the story of America in the early 1980s, a time when inflation was changing the value of money, when half dollars were vanishing from everyday use, and when the Kennedy design was already an American classic. Last quarter $1,986. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, designed to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. By the time we reached 1986, this coin had already been in circulation for over 5 decades. The obverse side, designed by John Flanagan, features a profile bust of George Washington. The reverse side carries the iconic eagle with spread wings, a powerful American symbol of strength and freedom. But here's where the 1986 S quarter becomes special. Unlike the regular Philadelphia or Denver mint coins, the San Francisco mint marked with an S produced only proof coins that year. Minting details. Mint mark S for San Francisco, located just above the R in the word quarter. Dollar on the reverse. Type proof coin, meaning it was not meant for general circulation but struck especially for collectors. Mintage, around 3 million proof quarters were made in 1986. While this sounds like a lot, it's a tiny fraction compared to the hundreds of millions of quarters struck at Philadelphia and Denver that same year. Metal composition. Clad version 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. Silver proof version 90% silver and 10% copper. These were issued only in special collector sets because proof coins are made with polished dies and planchets. The 1986 S quarter has a mirror-like background and frosted design details, giving it a beautiful contrast known as cameo or deep cameo finish. Varieties and errors. Even though proof coins are struck with extra care, some fascinating errors and varieties have been reported. Extra thickness or doubling on the date, or the lettering Liberty, doubling on the eagle's feathers, or the inscriptions United States of America. Rare for proof coins, but occasionally one slips through. If the design is not properly centered, the value can skyrocket. Coins with strong frosted devices and deep mirrored fields are worth much more than ordinary proofs. Collector value. Now let's talk about what everyone wants to know: the value of the 1986 quarter dollar today. Regular proof, clad. In average proof condition, it sells for about $3 to $5. Deep cameo proofs, clad, can reach $15 to $25, depending on the grade. Silver proof. Because of its silver content and collector demand, these often sell for $10 to $20, with higher grade examples bringing $40 plus. Error coins. A double die or off-center proof can bring hundreds of dollars, depending on rarity and condition. In fact, one 1986 proof quarter graded PR70 Deep Cameo by PCGS sold for over $1,000 at auction. Why collect the 1986 quarter? It represents the last years before the State Quarters program began in 1999, which changed U.S. coinage forever. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint always carry prestige in the coin collecting world. Affordable entry point for beginner collectors, yet rare enough in high grades to excite advanced numismatists. The Washington quarter design that appears on the 1986 was used for over 65 years, until it was replaced by the State Quarter series. Proof sets from 1986, which included the 1986 quarter, also contained the penny, nickel, dime, and half-dollar of that year. These sets are still highly collectible. Silver proof versions are especially popular with collectors who love both history and bullion value. That's the magic of the Kennedy $half. It's more than just 50 cents. It's history, it's art, and sometimes it's a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. Now tell me in the comments, which of these $half do you own, and have you ever checked them for hidden value? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting coin adventures. Until next time, happy collecting.